Good morning and welcome to our CS-Sensei Cybersecurity webinar. We conduct these Saturday mornings. At the moment, we're 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and everybody's welcome. Anybody who's interested in cybersecurity, this is the place to be. So good morning, one and all. I wanted to do a special welcome to Chris, who will be doing a presentation on the new ISC squared CC certification as it compares to Security Plus. But because we have a number of folks on, first thing I wanted to do is ask if anybody had anything to share, something that you've seen or experienced or paid attention to this week that you wanted to share with the group. Specifically, Kevin, I would like you to talk about what you shared with me before we turned on recording. That would be nice. But does anybody else have anything to share as well? Anyone this week? Go ahead. Don't be shy. Okay, Kevin, could you share, please?
Yeah, definitely. So I was just saying how having the homework, even though I don't think I was necessarily consciously thinking about the homework throughout my daily activities, but it was something kind of running in my in the background of my mind, where just in little situations I'll have the mindset of looking at it from a cybersecurity perspective, you know. So it was pretty good to have that running in the back of my mind, even definitely with like social media. I think so. It's good to even let kids know and to have that running in the back of their mind, so they're just a little more, how can you say, just aware and not so quick, especially with like social media or just online in general. People are so quick to accept things without actually paying attention, and so if they have that in the back of their mind, they'll just be a little more aware to read, a pop-up through, and, hopefully not be victim to an attack. So,
Yeah, very good. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And that's, a reminder to everybody that our weekly homework is something that you're under no obligation to do, but like Kevin is pointing out, there is a real benefit to doing so. It helps shape your mind, and that's the point of it. Anybody else? Any shares? Chris, did you want to share about the symposium a little bit?
Sure. There's a lot going on in the cybersecurity realm that was talked about at the symposium. A lot of the newer technologies, how it can be used for good and evil, and the focus seems to be on getting more people involved and getting into the continuous learning aspect of what you need to secure and what to do. A lot of concern about artificial intelligence and machine language. A lot of concerns about just various types of attacks that can happen on the cloud security side. The talk seems to be is to continue learning and get more people involved into it. It's the demand for people who know this is there, and you're going to be wanted, and you're going to want to continue learning what you can figure out what they're asking for and put your name in. That's right. The start I would start with. That's my takeaway back from the symposium.
And in case you guys didn't follow the stuff that was going on Facebook and stuff, Chris and I both attended a U.S. Department of Justice annual cybersecurity symposium. There were over 1,000 attendees on this call. It was a WebEx call, I think. And they had, some of the top U.S. federal cybersecurity experts on that call. And in addition, they had the CEOs of KnowBe4, who talked about AI, and also the CEO of Splunk, who was on, who talked about log management and log intelligence. So that was really good. And like Chris was saying, the I loved hearing because they said, AI, we got to be really careful about this. AI, we've got to do this. You know, there were AI as a benefit and AI as a risk were both being discussed. In other words, we've got to get this faster than the people who are trying to attack us. That's the general gist I got from the discussion about AI. AI is here to stay, and we need it, and we need it faster than the bad folks have it. That was a general thing I heard. One other thing that I will share, they went online from National Security Council. This interviewee went online, and she said, one thing we are not doing is we're not getting cybersecurity into the minds and activities of our young people soon enough. They said, is there something we can do to get more young people involved? And she said, yeah, don't wait until high school to start talking to them about security. She said, the moment they start picking up devices, talk to them about the security implications of those devices. Whatever they're using, whether it's a phone, whether it's an iPad for school, whether they have some sort of smart device that they're using, talk to them about it and the security implications. If you can find out where your buddy is, so can the bad folks. And that's something that we need to instill in our younger people. It's not just a grown-up thing. And the reason is, if you don't get them interested early, you're going to have to compete with all of the other interests that are out there to try and get them into cybersecurity jobs. And the only way to do that is to talk it up early so that they get interested early, so they develop that interest and they become part of the cyber workforce. So that was a real good one for me as well. Get them started young. Just like you start them on football, just like you start them on softball, just like you start them on computer games, whatever, you can start talking to them about security. Even if it's just conversation, that's fine. And she did mention, get them started in robotics. I heard that one as well. So anybody else have anything to share before we turn it over to Chris? Cool. All right. Well, I am going to share the screen, and then Chris, did you have any slides or anything?
Can I have a web share if possible?
Sure. Yeah, let me hand it over to you.
Forgot to ask in the pre-show.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
There you go.
And continue and pull up Chrome. And I think I'm ready. Awesome. Okay. So welcome everybody, and I'm glad you came out this early morning. For some of you, pretty early this morning. And what I'd like to talk about with you is the difference between the Certified in Cybersecurity and the Security Plus exams, and just the various questions that come up with it, of which one's better, which one is going to get you more opportunities, which one is cheaper, all questions that were presented beforehand, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that the mentees or anybody here would have. And the reason why I'm qualified for this is I have passed both the Security Plus exam and the Certified in Cybersecurity exam, and I've gone through the whole experience thus far. Certified in Cybersecurity, I'm a little bit further into the journey of what happens afterwards. So I'm still fresh, and I'll keep everybody up to date on how that's going. And I'll give also the reasons why I did both exams, because you really shouldn't, I won't say not go after a lot of certifications, but you probably want to be smart in planning about the certifications. You don't want to get that certification hunter status where you could get more experience and join different mentorship groups and get the learning from there as well. So first off, I started with the Security Plus, and a few years later, the Certified Cybersecurity exam came out. I had that different order because that's just the way it was offered to me. I would probably suggest a different route here, and I'm going to start by showing the objectives. And one of the greatest hints I could ever give anybody to be successful in these exams is first download the objectives straight from their respective websites. So I have CompTIAs up right here for Security Plus. And one of the great things you can have about these objectives is they give you details on what you're going to be tested on and what they expect from you to have beforehand in order to be successful in this job. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can zoom this in. Yes, I can. Awesome. And you can see about the exam right here. The line that I want to focus on for the Security Plus is this line right here. And I'll make it a little more bigger. So this is equivalent of 2 years. This is equivalent to 2 years of hands-on experience working in a security system administrator job role. And that shouldn't shut you down and say, oh, wait a minute, I don't have that experience. There's to say that what you're going to be tested on is equivalent of those 2 years experience. And I'll go over to the CC. Same objectives I pulled from ISC squared. And you see in the experience requirement that ISC squared provides, there are no specific prerequisites to the exam. It is recommended that the candidates have basic information technology knowledge. No work experience in cybersecurity or any formal educational diploma degree is required. The next step in the candidate's career would drive to earning ISC squared's expert level certifications. That would be the SSCP and the ISSP, which require experience in the field. I'll start with that one question of which one should you take first, or which one you would have a more entry level. And my vote would be definitely the Certified in Cybersecurity exam. Certifying Cybersecurity exam does not have any hands-on. It's all multiple choice within these 5 domains: the security principles, the business continuity, disaster recovery, incident response, the access control concept, the network security, and the security operations. And strictly multiple choice, no lab or what are called performance-based questions. Here in the Security Plus, and why it's currently renowned at the moment, is you are going to have, I'll move over here, hands-on technical, there are multiple choice and performance-based questions involved. And those performance-based questions could be anywhere to, here's a network diagram, where do you put the firewalls, what ports are involved in the firewalls. You can also get, hey, here's a computer, can you please set it up, so harden it so that you can have maximum security, those type of performance lab-based questions. Some of them are also drop-downs of, hey, I'll give you a name, and here's a port. Can you please give the port with that name? Those are examples of performance-based questions. So if you're just starting in the field, I would certainly suggest a Certified in Cybersecurity. My only concern about that is this recommendation of, it is recommended that candidates have basic information technology knowledge. If you're coming in with a fresh, clean slate and you have no clue what a computer is versus a cell phone, or you don't have that basic IT knowledge, I would go back to the CompTIA A+, Network Plus, and Network Plus, and refresh yourself on those. You don't have to take the certifications before the CC, but that would give you a good background knowledge. I found the questions on the CC, without disclosing and breaking my NDA, to be tricky. When I say tricky, they are very wordy, and you gotta have that understanding of the topics they're going to ask you about. So that first question of which one is better, or which one is easier to get. Which one is easier to get to me is the CC. The Security Plus, you got to figure out how to get hands-on in labs and find a cheap and good way to do it. More widely accepted. That's a great question, and I pulled up my LinkedIn. I'm going to say widely accepted is how many jobs you can find. And let's do, say here, where I live. And I'm going to set it for last week. So just by searching Security Plus without going into the deep granular details of the different job roles, I don't know why aviation safety technician might be neat to look at later, but ISSO, for example, Information System Security Officer, there are about 5,371 jobs for Security Plus, just doing a quick search. Whereas if I do certified in cybersecurity, in quotes, I don't get any matches. One of the things I would tell my mentees is figure out your why for taking a certification, and really, unless the job role that you're looking for is saying, hey, here's all these certifications I need in order to get the job, in order to be considered, you can use the curriculum as something of a learning step by step. So for example, if I go to Security Plus, I can sit there and learn about all these things, but unless I absolutely need certification, I have a reason why, just use this as a curriculum step by step to help you learn about that and have that knowledge base in hand. In fact, some of the government jobs will not even mention certifications. They'll sit there and say, I need somebody who knows about ransomware, or I need to know somebody who can figure out what a cross-site scripting is. That's the knowledge part of it. And in another webinar another time, I'd like to show what the different job roles that everybody was looking at. That was another thing they talked about in the symposium, Scotty, was the different job roles that are involved with different positions in cybersecurity. But for the mentee's sake, I would want to know why I'm taking that certification, and I would also want to know if my company's going to afford it. If you're sitting here jobless right now, and you're looking to get money in the door, your first mission should be getting the money in the door in order to pay for certification. That's just common sense from there. And so the one that's more widely accepted would be Security Plus. Is one cheaper? Certified cybersecurity is free, with some caveats, but they're cheap caveats. Pardon me. Certified in cybersecurity, you get the free training, and you get the free test taking. You get the free sit for the test. Here's my training plan right here. Self-paced exam is $0, absolutely free. With the caveat that once you're done once you've done and finished the test and you pass, there's a membership fee of $50 to get to be a member of ISC squared. That's $50 for the year, not $50 per month, $50 per year. So for about $3 or $4 a month, you can have the access of a membership the same as the CISSP would. And to me, that's the benefit of the ISC squared CC certification, is for much cheaper and for an easier exam, you can have all the membership benefits of the CISSP. The webinars, the different events that they hold, networking. To me, that's worth the the free from there, and that's what you're going to get back from the free. Whereas Security Plus, I believe, is up to $300, closing in on $400.
Yeah, I think it's $370 is the latest exam fee.
Mm-hmm. And the benefit of the Security Plus is you get that nice certificate where people are requesting more of you from the Security Plus, the employers are requesting, and that's a more recognized certifications. All that being said, because of the ISC squared moniker of the reputation that ISC squared holds, I would not be shocked in the future if the certified in cybersecurity becomes a, hey, if you got it if you have it on the entry level jobs, that'd be a nice to have, or even a requirement. And that's which one is cheaper and which one more gets widely accepted. Those are the two answers there. Easier to get to me is certified in cybersecurity. The final one is which one's better. Do we want to start a wrestling match about this one? Better is relative. From my personal standpoint, I think right now the Security Plus is better because it's more widely recognized and you're going to get more hands-on with it, with the different security materials. If you're in a situation, though, where you're trying to get the knowledge and you want an easier time getting the knowledge for different cybersecurity topics, the certified in cybersecurity is probably the better way to go for your sake. If you're just trying to get into the field and you don't have money coming in the door, maybe the certified in cybersecurity is better, unless you have a state that has the Security Plus that's going to be paid for you through their workforce programs. The one is better is a tough question, and I think it's relative, and we can probably, all of us in this call, would debate which one is the better one in the end. I think mostly we would all say Security Plus because we see the 5,000 job postings on LinkedIn about it. Some other things you want to look at is where do you want to work? I hold up the DLD baseline certifications, the 8570, and you can see CC is nowhere in this group, especially the top technician in the level 1 area. Not even in level 1 management, you can see Security Plus is here. Security Plus is a level 2 technician. Though, interesting enough, the next level up certification, the SSCP from the CC, holds 2 places in the DLD. And then you see the expert CISSP level right here. So that's DLD. CyberSeek, I'm going to pick networking. You can see the certifications they want for networking, more focused on the Cisco certifications and the ITIL. Another one I would pick is IT support. You can see Network Plus, Security Plus, ITIL, and the Microsoft certs. It is the top requested certification for those positions. Entry level, if you want to be a cybersecurity specialist, Security Plus, ITIL, vendor-specific certifications is what information system certification is. And if you can afford it or if your company wants to pay it for you, the CompTIA certifications are being asked for. So more than likely, you want what's better for you would probably most likely be the Security Plus in this case. So certified cybersecurity, that whole aspect of getting the networking from the ISC squared for a very cheap price, $50 a year. To me, that's where the money and probably is better, to have that networking opportunities and knowing what's out there in the industry. Security Plus doesn't really have that. No, I never got the network community feel from Security Plus. All I get is these nice little newsletters that say, here's what's going on in security and computer today, the CompTIA daily newsletters. And I can get that by just searching cybersecurity on Google. Another thing that you want to help with considering your choices, and I think I've shared this before, but I'll put it back to the top of the Facebook group. This is a blogger, Paul Jeremy. He's a security specialist, and he provides the roles on top, the description, your security operations, software security, security assessment and testing, security and risk management, asset security, architecture and engineering, identity access management, so IAM, and communication network security. And they'll show you beginner and where to start, all the way up to expert. And I see CISP is right here on top of expert, Security Plus down here in beginner, and spanning a whole group of categories. Let's see if I can, oh, you're going to make this difficult. I want to go down to the beginner and see if they, oh, right here, certified in cybersecurity, beginner level, underneath security and risk management. And these are nice little tools to help you out in your planning and realizing what you want. But to say which one's better, that's a tough question to answer. And I think we're going to get different answers or differences of opinions depending on situations. And I'll open the floor for mentee questions. That's all the questions that I want to say within scope about, but I'll be glad to go out of scope if you want to ask something else from there.
Hey, Chris, we do have a question from the chat from Donnie. He said, I have my Security Plus from 1995. I'm grandfathered in and relearning. Do I retake the test or focus on ISC 2 cert after relearning Security Plus? He said he's 25% in.
Okay. Donnie, is Donnie still on the line? I called him. I guess he called back out. My response, and I would have a question back for Donnie. I'm sorry to answer as a question back. What is the situation that you're in besides the certification part? Is this something specific for your job? Do you have a requirement to take the Security Plus again? I will tell you that if work requires it, please do what work says. That's the way to keep the paycheck coming in. And there's probably a reason why work will require that certification. If it's a personal goal and you're saying, hey, I see in the future I'm going to be a use CyberSeek as my example. CyberSeek, the next one would be cybersecurity, expert level cybersecurity engineer. What would be next from here after Security Plus? You see Security Plus and then CISSP. But if you say, hey, I'm a security engineer, I want to be a security engineer, what's next after Security Plus? Look at the job boards and see what's being asked for a security engineer. And if you got your Security Plus already, see if you can apply into a security engineer role and go from there. But I would need much more information to sit there and say what absolutely is next after Security Plus. I think I remember seeing your Facebook question and Scotty answering. And CompTIA, if you listen to CompTIA, remember CompTIA is a certification body. They want money. They will say, oh, what's next would be CYSA Plus, CISA Plus, the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus. Or if you want to go more offensive, Pentest Plus, actually branch out the certification path. ISC squared will sit there and say, wait a minute, you have your Security Plus. That's quite similar to both the CC and the SSCP. You see all the positions that say CISSP. Maybe it's time to go think about taking the CISSP. But then again, Donnie, I would want a lot more information besides listening to two organizations who want your money or your company's money in the end. And I would also want to hear what your career goals and objectives besides the certification path, the absolute certification pathway. Is there a job involved? Is it personal gain? Is there a you get my point of these questions here. So there's not a great answer I can give to you without probably knowing a little bit more of what your situation is besides the path of certification.
He put in the chat He said he's been in IT for 20 years and wants to change his career. He's been doing mostly system support. So he's got the IT experience and knowledge, but now he's trying to obviously hone his resume so that it becomes attractive to a hirer. So A+ is definitely out. That is presumed. Probably Network Plus is out because that, again, is also presumed. If you're, and I would agree, if you're looking for the next step up, not just to broaden your skills, but the next step up, CISSP is the obvious choice. Oh, yeah, okay, Donnie says he has his A+, his Network Plus, and an expired CCNA. So, okay, first of all, you did point out that you got your Security Plus in 1995. I am also one of those people that fell for the sales pitch that said, if you get Security Plus, you'll be certified for life. That's what I have. But now if you look, like in the DoD 8570, it says Security Plus CE, Security Plus CE. And the reason is those certified for life are no longer considered acceptable for current jobs. Yeah, it's great to have, but it was back when, you know, before certain things appeared like cloud. So there are gaps in that security knowledge, Security Plus knowledge. I, too, have a Security Plus from long ago, and it's the old, I can put it in my signature block, but it doesn't qualify me for obtaining positions which require that CE. CE is short for continuing education, and that means that you are current in your cybersecurity knowledge. So if you're going to go, for example, for a DoD job, they won't accept your old Security Plus. You have to get the newer Security Plus with the CE component. And oh, by the way, there's a cost for that CE. Every 3 years, you have to recertify or continue by getting continuing education credits. So that was just in order to bring Security Plus in line with these other certifications, you have to stay current. You can't just get it and use it forever. So that's another consideration. One thing I did want to point out when we heard at the Cybersecurity Symposium, Chris, you mentioned there were 5,000 some odd jobs that said they asked for Security Plus and 0 that asked for the CC. Fully understand that. During the symposium, they mentioned that they are focusing on finding ways to teach HR about equivalency between various certifications, just what your experience translates into, what your certifications translate into, what your education translates into, so that HR can properly evaluate you in comparison to other candidates. That is going to be a challenge for a while. They are trying to teach HR to be cyber smart, and that's a real challenge because HR is not technical. So that's another concern as well. So anything else, Chris, or anything from the mentees?
HR is relying upon an old position description of somebody who's been in that group for a long time. So if they sit there and say, hey, Security Plus, CISSP, more than likely the person who was sitting in that spot before you had a CISSP and have a Security Plus, and they would need to look at the industry much more. Anything else from that point? I would say, to respond to Donnie, it's a very interesting situation that you're in, and what probably HR is going to sit there and like about you is your 20 years of experience in IT. I would, on your resume, pump that up and make it like almost bold and red. Don't do actually bold and red, but like put it onto the top and say, I have these 20 years, I have this sage knowledge of IT. If I have that sage knowledge of IT, I can secure your systems, or I can surely learn how to secure your systems quickly. I would say get your Security Plus as soon as possible updated, and then update over to the next one, whatever your employer wants to do, but emphasize your 20 years experience on the resume. And if you're currently employed, pretty much ask the employers, hey, what's my next step here? What do I need to go on our paid learning platform and say, hey, is it CISA time? Is it CISSP time? Pick one of those courses. Employer, what do you want me to do? If you're unemployed, look at the job roles, emphasize your 20 years experience, and go where the market is asking you what to have. That would be my advisement for you, Donnie. Sorry, it's not a straight answer of, hey, what's next? Is it CASP or CISA or is it CISSP? You're the person providing the service to these companies. You want to provide what they're asking for in the services in the end. I just found out a week or two ago, Scotty, that the ITIL cert is now expiring. You don't hold it for life. So.
Groovy. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the field, from the group?
Yeah. Did you use the study guide for the CC?
Yes, I did. And let me give that's a great question. That was Ron, right? Yep, that was Ron. Okay. They're going to try to sell you the $20 textbook or $30 textbook. Don't buy it. It's actually a transcribed version of the online self-study with the videos. So it's not worth the money in the end unless you want something different. If you want to see text on screen versus videos, that's my only reasoning for buying that textbook. That was my hard lesson learned. So ISC squared is a good cause. I got given the money, and in the end, that was my attitude about that. And what's $20 to me? But I would advise my mentees, if money's an issue, don't buy the textbook. Stay with the self-study because it's the same thing. But answer your question, Ron, yes, I did use the self-study. I found the self-study to be scratch the surface of the topics, whereas the test questions were a little bit more into the details of the topic at hand. So let's say, let's go to the CC objectives. Where was the one I can remember that I can't? So access controls. They talk about the different types of access controls, but then they went on to, there's something further in the access controls. So what you have listed here is fair game to be tested, but you also want to understand what is an access control. So if you go further into different models of access control, I'll say Bell Lapita. What's the other one I'm trying to learn? SSP right now, SSCP. Off the top of my head, I can't remember that one, but there are different access controls besides the one listed here. What ISC Squared likes to do is focus on the main objective, which is access control, and say, here are the examples of what I want you to know, but you need to make sure you understand what logical access controls are. So using just the self-study textbook, Ron, I would not use that as your only one. What I've used was Mike Chappelle's LinkedIn course. That filled in a lot of holes that the self-study taught. And I also used a Udemy course from Thor Peterson, which I waited till it came down to about 15, 20 bucks and gone ahead and buy it. Thor goes into the deep details. I probably would sit there and say it's a good SSCP study guide, the next one level up, versus a certified in cybersecurity. But yes, Ron, I did use the self-study, and I would not recommend that as your sole resource. But I've heard people pass just using that resource and using index cards and using the study resources from the sheets there. So it's possible, but I would not recommend that.
Another one. Do you know if ISC Squared offers like a home lab to practice for Security Plus?
Yes, but it's money.
Okay.
If you're a non-member.
Okay.
If you're going to go that route, take the CC, and when you pass the CC, give them the $50, and it's free if you're a member.
Oh, the lab is free?
Mm-hmm. When you're a member.
Okay.
Or cheaper. That would be my advisement if you have a lab for Security Plus. And I'll show you. Actually, I can show everybody this. Give me a moment. Hopefully, I don't think I'll dox myself doing this. If ISC Squared is behaving itself this morning. It is, okay. Do not go into your profile, Chris. You will dox yourself. Multi-factor authentication. Give me a moment, guys. Great question, Ron, by the way. Such a great question. I wasn't prepared for it. See if my time's up. Nope, not yet. Do not go into your profile. You will dox yourself. Do not go into your profile. You will dox yourself. I am looking for member benefits. Of course, they pitch you the 20% off the training, which is about hundreds of dollars for the higher ones. You can see the inside ISC Squared, discussing latest accomplishments. The Professional Development Institute has different courses and labs. Click on lab courses, see free for members, $40 for them. Oh, that's not too bad. They chopped their prices down a lot. These used to be hundreds of dollars. But still, if you get the CC, you become a member after giving ISC Squared $50 for the year, and it's free for you once you're a member. And there are not that many labs there. What I would recommend, Ron, two things I would recommend. Pico capture the flag from Carnegie Mellon, free account, gives you a free web shell and a free course that will help you practice the different security concepts in Security Plus. And then Google through Coursera. $50. This one is $50 a month. It will give you hands-on activities and prepare you for the Security Plus from there. And that's straight through Coursera and Google. Those are the two I would recommend for labbing for Security Plus.
Okay, and one more. So after you pass the CC, you owe the $50 then, or is that 1 year after you pass?
Okay, so when you pass, you get that nice, and I'm going to go from lab to when you're a member, okay? You take the test, you get the nice sheet from the testing people that says you passed. You wait about 2 to 5 days for them to process it. They'll send you an email saying, hey, you need to register as a member. Please go. You can have your certificate once you have paid your member fee. Here's the website to do it. You go in, you plug in your data to ISC Squared, and you give them the $50. They'll send you a nice email saying, welcome, you're a member, and use your credentials from there.
So let me ask that question, Chris. Did you just say you can't get your certificate unless you pay $50?
That is correct, Scotty.
Okay. So you can pass the CC,
Mm-hmm.
and you can show them that you passed the CC, but you don't get that cool certificate with your name on it until $50 goes to them.
I would have to read further in the ISC squared rules. I don't think you can claim CC on your resume until you give them $50 either, but I would have to read that on the rules. They're sticklers like that. I'll give you another example with CISSP, and you know about this, Scotty. When you pass the CISSP, you're not officially a CISSP. You are an associate of a CISSP. You have to, when I went through the CC registration process, it's there's a part that says you need to be you need to have someone to say, yep, this person knows the 2 domains, another CISSP, or you can have ISC squared vouch for you and say, okay, we evaluated his resume, we talked to all his employers, yep, fine, great, wonderful, you're a CISSP. CC, you don't have to do that. CC is, just give us your information, $50, boom, you're a member. And to me, that's the benefit of the CC is you're getting CISSP membership for an easier test and a cheaper fee.
Excellent. Anyone else? Any other questions? Comments? How did Chris do? Did anybody get some benefit out of this?
Yeah, good presentation, Chris. Good presentation.
Thank you.
I thought it was pretty informative. I wasn't real sure about what all ISC squared and all the CC was compared to the Security Plus, and you cleared up a lot of that.
Thank you, Doug.
Well, cool. I really appreciate what you've done, Chris. You did a lot of research on this, and you've walked the walk. So this is definitely not an education perspective. This is a boots-on-the-ground perspective, and those are the sorts of things that will really give people insight. And I like the fact that you said, you know, I would, in one area of my mind, I would get this one first, but in another area of my mind, I would get this first. So it helped to point out that there's no clear winner. There's no clear top contender in this. It depends on what your objectives are. And so that has to be done throughout your career, honestly. I can remember many years ago, I was a program manager for a company, and they put me on the bench. In other words, my contract ended, and I had been a program manager for 4 years, but I was like, okay, give me another program manager job, and I didn't. The jobs kept passing me by, and finally I turned to my one of my managers, and I said, why am I being bypassed? And the manager said, well, the CEO likes to brag that all of his PMs are certified, and you don't have a certification. And I said, oh, so that's when I jumped on the bandwagon and went out and got my PMP, and the next thing you know, I got my job. So there could be local things that you have to take into account that are going to drive you to the next level professionally that may or may not be something that we can tell you about. For me, it was a case where my experience wasn't enough. I had to go show something. And oh, by the way, I doubled down on that and went and got my MBA as well, because they were saying master's degrees and a PMP is what's acceptable for our program managers. So I went and got my MBA as well. And that just drove me straight through professionally. So just something to think about for everybody. Well, if nobody else has anything, we don't have to go our full 60 minutes. Anybody else have any last-minute shares or comments before we finish up?
Solid speaking, I would say just be aware of what your goals are, what you want to do. Those who are employed already, and what's the next step further, a year long line, 5 years long line. And don't be afraid to use that CyberSeek website in your job boards, along with word of mouth of your managers where you want to go. Don't sit and stick with one thing. Take all of it as a big picture and then knock it down to a simple plan, and have that knowledge that that plan is going to change. If you put that plan in writing and you're going to put a motion and attached to it, you're going to have a bad day. Have that plan in writing, yes, but be ready to change it at any time when the technology changes. And get yourself out there talking and having a portfolio of what your work done. This is my pitch to say, please do the homeworks that CS-Sensei offers. It will help you. Don't be afraid to post online. You're not a hoodie hacker. You're not that hoodie person that's introverted and all that. The fear of making mistakes is just gonna sit there and say, hey, it's not gonna help you grow at all. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, but more importantly, and this is what the employers are looking for, learn from your mistakes. Don't make a mistake left and right and repeat the same mistake. You want to, I made a mistake, learn from it, move on to your next goal from there. That's my final shot.
Excellent. I appreciate that very much, Chris. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us today. And please be sure, we're going to put this out on YouTube, so be sure to share it, like, and subscribe. Once we get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, we get to change the name of our channel to something that's a little more readable. So I really do ask that everybody subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's rhetorical. That's just my email address, so that's what the channel got called. But please do join and subscribe to the YouTube, and that will drive us over 100 subscribers. Everybody have a wonderful Saturday and a great weekend. Again, Chris, thank you so much. Great research, great information, and I'm sure it will help everybody. Everybody have a great one. We'll talk later. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. See you next week. Thank you.